creative Campfires. I'm Susan Riley, and tonight I am joined by my daughter, Emma, and she is going to lead you through tonight's creative activity. So Emma, what are we doing tonight?
Tonight we're going to be doing a mosaic out of paper.
Okay, and so what is a mosaic?
So a mosaic is where you take tiny pieces of typically stone, glass, or tile, sometimes to make a pattern, sometimes it's just pretty and arranged randomly.
Okay, so tell us what we need. What are the materials that we need for tonight?
So the materials for this project are 2 sheets of paper.
All right, hold those up. Random 2 pieces of paper, right? It doesn't need to be any kind of paper. It can just be white paper?
Just
white paper. Okay.
You need your medium
What's a medium?
A medium is the material that you're drawing with or creating with.
Okay, so for our medium tonight, what are we doing?
For us, we're gonna use colored pencil. You can use watercolor, marker, crayons, oil pastels, anything that you really have at home.
Oh, well, that's good to know. So if you don't have colored pencils laying around, but you do have crayons, you can use those,
yes.
Right? Okay,
you can really
perfect.
use any kind of medium.
Okay.
We need, if you want, you can use painter's tape.
Oh, I like this, and I think this is going to help because it helps you keep some straight lines. Because the thing about mosaics is that you also need space, right? So this helps with the space, right?
Yes.
And why painter's tape? Why would you use the blue kind of painter's tape instead of...
It comes off really easily.
It does.
It doesn't stick on there and rip the paper when you try to pull it off.
Yep. Washi tape will do the same thing. So if you want to use washi tape, if you have that, if you're a crafter and you have that, that'll do the same thing. But you don't need this, right?
No, you don't. If you don't want to use painter's tape, you can just kind of randomly arrange it.
Okay, cool. Good
so
to know.
If you don't have that, just do you.
You do you. Okay.
And you need some glue.
Okay. So now, here's something really interesting. So we didn't have any Elmer's glue, like regular Elmer's glue laying around. So Emma went and found Craft Bond, which I happen to have, which works in a pinch. Anything that's an adhesive, right? So if you have glue, great. If you have craft glue, awesome. If you have tape, if you just have tape, clear Scotch tape, that'll work too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And lastly, we need scissors.
Okay. All right, so tell us what we're going to do. What's the first step?
So the first step, you're going to take whatever medium you have, and you're going to fill in one of your sheets of paper with a random arrangement of colors.
Okay.
Just fill it all in.
All right, so you get started, and we'll talk about this. So Emma's going to start filling it in. You can follow along with her. You can do this as quickly or as slowly as you want. Remember, this is a video, so you can always just pause it if you want and come back. But if you want to follow along with her, that's fine. She's going a little quickly, but notice how she's using a couple of different colors. Make sure that you're underneath of the camera so that we get it, right? Okay, so she's using a couple of different colors. She's trying to fill in all of the space.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to move these scissors just to be safe. Good tip, right? This is easier. If you want to go faster, paint is a great medium to use quickly, right? Because you can cover the paper very quickly with paint, whereas crayons or colored pencils or markers are going to take you a little bit longer, but you use what you have, right? The other cool thing about a mosaic is that the colors that you choose right now are going to make it so much more interesting when you cut it and you start to put it into place, okay? So as she's filling this in, which by the way, I am really liking your color choices here.
I'm going like a rainbow radial design kind of thing.
Look at all that vocabulary she is using. My friends, I know that you have been sitting, learning, and getting your mind filled this week with your teachers. Many of you have. Some of you have not had that opportunity, but many of you have. Look at the vocabulary she is using. A radial, she is being all fancy. A radial design. So what is a radial design, Emma?
A radial design is something that goes around in a circular type pattern.
Right. Something that goes around in a circular type pattern, right? That we make that radius. I love that. Okay. And she's kind of making it like a rainbow, which is so cheerful for right now, right? I know a lot of us might feel a little scared, might be a little afraid with what's going on because we don't know what's happening. And so I am loving all of the cheerful things that we can get. So rainbows, sunshine, things that make me happy. I feel like we need to bring more of those in, right?
Yeah.
Because the world sometimes gives us things that make us a little sad or afraid. And so one of the things I love about art and music and theater and dance is that it gives us the chance to make the happy, right? Make the happy. So as you're doing this, my friends, my parents, if you're following along, teacher friends, if you are following along and you're just creating to create, please take pictures. Let us see what you're doing. Use hashtag creative campfires, and we'll go ahead and take a look at that and then try to post those to our feed as well. Because I want to see, don't you want to see what other kids are doing?
Yeah.
I want to see what people are doing and what their designs are looking like. So make sure that you take pictures as you're going along and then hashtag creative campfires. All right. Looks like you're close to being done here. Are you trying to fill in the whole paper or can you just use part?
I can just use part, but I want to get to purple.
Okay. Yes, you want to get to purple. All right. Now, it looks like you're going a little quickly, trying to make sure that we're moving along, right?
Yep.
So that's okay. But remember, you can take your time. Emma's just trying to make sure that we move along just a little bit, right? Remember to fill in as much as you can because that's going to make your mosaic look even better. You know what? This is kind of looking to me like a solar system. If you look at it kind of like from a distance, you trying to find a purple?
The purple.
I know. Purple needs some help with sharpening. But you know what? You can use that. This one's better.
Oh.
That's blue. Oh. And that's violet. You know what? This is what happens when we have when you're working with what you got, right? So you get to make a creative choice here. Yep. Go ahead. See, make your creative choices. It may not turn out the way that you initially planned, but
it's beautiful either way.
It's beautiful anyway. It's beautiful just
oops.
Like a beautiful oops. Yes, it's just like that book, A Beautiful Oops. Barry Salzberg. I love that book. Yeah, I like that this is kind of looking like that solar system.
Yeah.
That's the thing about art. Sometimes you just don't know. You have a plan in your mind of how it's going to turn out, but you just don't know what it's actually going to look like, right?
Yeah.
And I find that's really comforting right now.
If you don't have painter's tape or washi tape, you can just go ahead and skip this part. But for those of us who do have the painter's tape or the washi tape, this is a step where you take it and you make the spaces on your paper.
So show us what you mean.
So really, you're just going to take a piece of washi tape or
painter's
tape, whichever one you have, and then you're just going to make a line across the paper. And then you're just going to keep making those crisscross lines and make whatever shapes that you want.
I like that.
So.
Let's make one really, really long.
Yeah.
Yeah, try using different lengths if you can.
Don't get stuck.
Even if it does get stuck, the nice part about painter's tape, washi tape, all of that is that it's easy to pull apart, right? Emma, what's your favorite part about mosaics?
My favorite part about mosaics is the bright colors that are typically in them, because a lot of times when you see mosaics, they're really, really bright and they pop. It's a nice piece if you want to like bring out some color. It adds a little bit of pop to whatever you're putting it on.
I like this. Can I do a couple of pieces as well? Parents, you can always jump in. I like to give as much creative freedom as you can. Can you hold that piece for me?
Yep.
Thank you. But I also like to try and pop in as well to make it collaborative between the two of us. I kind of like this space being smaller.
Yeah.
Look at this. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Right? Just try to use your ends if you can. How about like, what do you think about like one more right here?
Yeah.
You want it at that angle?
Yeah. Because then it'll kind of cut off
Okay.
those few spaces.
That's true. And if it hangs over the edge,
Just tape it down.
that's cool,
It won't,
right?
It won't add anything.
It won't do anything else, right? Because this is just creating, because what will happen is that you're going to fill in this space here and then pull the tape off.
And then it'll create a nice clean line. You won't have to worry about anything like that.
You've got it. All right. So what's the next step?
Okay. Next step, you are going to take the piece of paper that you have colored, and then you're just going to cut out some random shapes to fill in these spaces that we've created.
Okay. Note here, if you are working on this with young children who have not yet learned how to cut, feel free to cut for them. Emma is 10, so I'm going to let her go ahead and cut hers out. You know, it's hard to remember.
Yeah.
All right.
Because you're used to working.
And save your scraps if you can. I know that we have so many things that we're trying to save and store at this time, but I like to kind of keep some of the scraps that we're not going to use. I just have one bin of just scrap paper, just as a tip for at home, and just literally one bin. Don't have multiples of this, but I like to keep the scraps because later on when you're doing other projects like collage, which is coming later in our creative campfire series, these are great to be able to use for collage then, and then you're not wasting paper and you're not wasting materials because you already have them. All right. Oh my goodness, Emma, these are really tiny pieces.
Yeah.
Right?
I just realized that.
That's okay. So does it have to be a certain size?
Nope. You can do whatever.
Keep it down so that people can see.
You can do whatever size pieces you want.
There you go. Yeah.
And you can vary the size. If you start cutting one size, it doesn't mean you have to stick to that size. You can vary whatever size you want.
You can do different shapes too, right? So
I'm just kind of cutting angles.
Right.
Not even really doing specific shapes like squares or triangles.
Yeah. And I like having different sizes where you have some really big ones that you can use it's like as if you were outside and using big rocks, right?
Yeah.
And then filling in with small rocks here and there.
Yeah.
I think it gives it some interesting visual appeal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. You've got some good pieces, some big pieces here. And while she's doing that, you keep going. You keep cutting.
Okay.
I'm going to play so that you can kind of see what we're going to do. So I might just kind of pull these pieces together a little bit and just start to play with where I would want them to fit. And you might have to play with that a little bit, right? So this is where those smaller pieces come in because they're easy to fit in. Okay. But you see how that works, that I'm just kind of pulling that together a little bit in that space that I have. That's why you want a variety of sizes. Awesome. These are good. Now remember, you can pause and kind of go through this at your own pace if you like.
Yeah, if you want to create more specific shapes, I'm really just trying to speed things along so that we don't take up too much time.
Yeah. And this is where different mediums, like Emma was talking about, with some of you are painting, some of you are using markers, some of you are using crayons or pastels. When you use the different mediums, you're going to get different colors when you cut this out. You're going to get more vibrant colors. Vibrant, that's another big word, which just means really bright colors that pop. You can use really kind of muted tones. Again, another good word. Muted just means softer. So if you think about color like sound, muted tone would be a softer color, right?
Like
And
a
if
mute on your trombone.
like a mute on the trombone, you're right. Or if you were looking for more vibrant colors, right, bright colors, you could think of more loud sounds, right? So thinking about how you want your mosaic to sound could be really interesting too,
Yeah.
right? The other way that you could do this, again, we're all about flexibility. Another way you could do this is to use just different colors of construction paper, right?
Just
So you
cut
wouldn't
out.
even have to do that first step of coloring in if you didn't want to. You could have lots of different colors of construction paper. But I kind of like the idea of making your own colors with this
Yeah.
mosaic just because I think it's a little bit more interesting that way.
Yeah.
All right. Can we pause here and
Yeah.
just start to do the next step
Yes. And then you can go back later and
fill
keep
in?
cutting.
So how about we fill in like 2 of the spaces, or
Yeah.
maybe these 3,
Yeah.
so that people can see what that looks like.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the next step?
Okay, so next step, this is where your glue comes in. You're going to take these pieces that you've cut out, and then if you want to like start by arranging them to see like where things fit, that is perfectly fine. I think I'm actually going to go and do that just so that
Yeah.
it fits and you're not stuck with a piece that has glue on it
Uh-huh.
just sitting there. And then you just kind of fill in with those small pieces and all the variant sizes.
This is where those problem-solving skills are going to come in,
Yeah.
right? Trying to figure out where things fit.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now you could just wing it. You could just
Yeah.
put glue on and just start sticking things down. And it would give you a different result, which is totally fine. One of the things I love about doing a project like this is that nobody's work is going to turn out the same. Nothing is cookie cutter. But at the same time, when you have a project like this that's got some steps to it and some guidelines, it's not going to turn out bad, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool too. Gives you a little bit of,
Sometimes all you need is that first step and then you...
yeah. Although, I gotta tell you, sometimes when I do artwork like this,
Yeah.
it does turn out bad. What I consider to be bad, right? That I'm not happy with how it looks.
And then when I look at you and I'm like, that's amazing.
Right. You look at it and say, that's amazing. And I'm like, well, so it's all in the eye of the beholder, right?
Yes.
And it's also something to learn from. What do I want to do different next time?
Yeah.
Right? No?
You got it.
All right. So let's talk about glue.
A dot is a lot,
My
a glob is
friends.
a slob.
What?
A dot is a lot, a glob is a slob. That's what
I
my
have
teacher
not
taught
heard
me.
that before. Say that again for the people in the back.
A dot is a lot, a glob is a slob.
A dot is a lot, a glob is a slob. Okay, so we're using dots, my friends. Just like 1, maybe 2 dots, that's it. We're not using
Depends on the size
globs,
of the
right? If you have a glue stick, 1 swipe, just really quick. You don't want more than that because then it gets just to be really messy,
Yeah.
right? Another way that you could do this, instead of just putting it on the individual pieces, I'm going to pick up those 3 pieces. 1, 2, 3.
And then you just...
And then lay your pieces down. That might go a little bit quicker for you.
Yeah.
Again, if you don't have glue, you can always use tape, right?
Yeah.
Scotch tape, amazing things. You can wrap presents with it, or you can put down artwork with it, right?
You can fix books that have torn.
Yes, you can fix books that have torn.
I did that the other day. I tore a page.
Oops.
Oopsies.
Well, I hope that whatever you're doing right now, whether you're in virtual school or whether you're not going to virtual school and you're just kind of catching up on some work, or whether you're just trying to enjoy the time that you have, that this kind of creative project is something that takes your mind off of what's happening and allows you to enjoy the time that we have.
Yeah.
I will say one of the benefits of going through this period of time is that I've gotten to spend more time with Emma. Emma's my only child, so I love spending as much time with her as I can. And so it's changed our routines a little bit, right?
Yep.
What's been your favorite part of changing the routine?
I think we just get to experience all of these new things,
Mm-hmm.
and it brings forth a lot of different opportunities that we can say, I like this, or I don't like this.
Oh, like what?
Like
Give me an
virtual
example.
school, for example.
Oh, like
Like-
virtual school?
Like, I don't think I'm gonna like it as much as I like regular school,
Mm-hmm.
but it's something new to try.
Well, that's a good perspective.
And,
All right, we're going to finish this, and then we're going to show you our finished result. And then I want you to tag us with yours. Remember to do hashtag creative campfire and show us your creative mosaic. And we'll be back in just a second once we've finished ours. Okay, so Emma has finished putting on all of her pieces. And now it's time for her to remove the tape. Now this is where it gets a little tricky, my friends. If you've used tape, you're gonna wanna do this really, really carefully. Ready?
Because if you pull it off too quickly, you might pull off some of your pieces.
Right, so you're gonna wanna be careful about that part. Parents, again, if you wanna use this time to help, that is fine. So feel free to help your student, your students. Feels like that all the time, right? If you want to help your child, that's fine. But again, you're going to want to pull that carefully. If you need to hold, there you go. Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. All right, so keep going. Remove that tape if you have it. And if you haven't, I want to see what these look like. Let's see. Now, one thing you're going to notice about Emma's, as she's removing her tape here, she was trying to kind of hurry this along for this evening. So you're going to see a lot of space in between her pieces. The tighter you can get your pieces together, the closer you can get them with the least amount of space in between, the better that your outcome is going to be on this, because it's going to look like these areas of just amazing color that has been filled in, and then these big white spaces that happen when you blocked off. But because she was trying to kind of make sure that we get this done in a reasonable amount of time tonight, she didn't take a ton of time to fill those in. Cool? Okay. But I still love the design that's starting to happen here. What do you think of?
I mean, there's a lot of white space.
Uh-huh.
So next time I might go in and fill it in.
Yes. Fill in those details a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah, here, let me hold that. There you go. Yeah.
Last one.
Yep.
Reveal.
Big reveal. Here we go. Careful. Good. Okay. So here's what our finished product looks like, which is kind of cool. I want to see what yours looks like. So remember, hashtag creative campfire. But I love your reflection on this, that you like it, but that you would want to fill in some of the details later and do it again, which is the whole point of art, right? That we're all doing that together. All right. Thank you so much for joining us for tonight's Creative Campfire. Can't wait to see you next time.